Okay guys, welcome back to part 3 of the Icaerodesign Eduard 148th MiG-21, the LanceR C upgrade. And as you can see here, we've got our color finally down, so both the blues on the underside and the gray, white, and light grays on the top side. And as you can see up near the forward kind of avionics bay, we've got some chipping done. So we did that according to some of the references that we've seen, and we've done a little bit of fading near the back as well as some more chipping there as well. So that's all done, and in this part we're going to kind of look at doing some of the stencils. So in our kit here, we get the stencils for the roundels, and we also get the stencils for the numbers, so the aircraft number. And seeing as this is going to be none of the 6840 or 5724, it's actually going to be 6207. So we'll go ahead and grab all of the necessary parts to do the stenciling with, and we'll come back and show you how that's done. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got our various decals for the MiG-21. So we've got the LanceR C. So we've got the believe when I was researching it, these are the squadron symbols basically. So the squadron shields, and then we've got the Bort numbers, or the aircraft numbers, and then our various Romanian Air Force roundels. But the nice thing about the Icaerodesign kit is it actually comes with a set of stencils. So bring you in. So you've got your various, your roundels, and then you've also got the numbers here as well. It's upside down. So we've got our various kind of numbers in the vinyl sheet, and these are quite well in register. There's no tears that I can see. There's a slight kind of separation from the roundel squares, but that's just something that happens with vinyl. And because I mentioned that we were doing aircraft number 6207, we're gonna have to kind of chop and paste, so to speak, some of these numbers. Now originally I thought maybe I could get away with doing the numbers kind of by themselves, so chop and kind of paste into there, but I think we might have to go the Decal route on that one, just because everything's so close together that I don't think we'll be able to kind of cut out and paste the numbers. At least we'll have to go and cut them separately out of the decals here. So unfortunately I don't think we'll be, unless we were doing one of these exact aircraft, I don't think we'll be able to get those separated nice enough where we can align them properly and get them close enough, because that would just be a lot more work than it's worth. But we can definitely use the roundels here, and we can definitely go ahead and spray those. So generally just looking at the references, I think we'll go ahead and do the roundels first. So now for this particular instance, where I have not put the gear down, I've not attached the gear, I'm just going to put a soft kind of microfiber cloth down first, and then that way I can kind of take it off the stand and place this down nicely. If you have like a block of foam, that'll work as well. I just don't want to damage any of the the antennas or antenna blades underneath. So yeah, so that's how we're going to approach this one. And then basically we're just going to kind of sit off a little bit. We're going to have the decals, the instructions off to the side, so I can reference where these are placed, and I'm probably going to start with the roundels. So how I'm going to do this is I'll just move this up and out of the way for a second so we can get down to here. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to get my knife and I'm basically going to kind of bend the paper down a little bit like so, and I'm going to try and get my blade underneath the edge of the vinyl stencil, and I'm just going to kind of pull it back and put pressure down on the rest of the piece. And I'm not going to kind of tear it from one spot. I'm going to kind of work it the way around, and that way I'm not going to tear the vinyl. So we've got our outer edge here, and this is going to kind of be our base kind of stencil. And then just looking at the instructions here, it's kind of just forward to here. Slit. Just a little off, so a little bit forward. I think that looks fine. So I don't want to completely kind of push this guy down. So what I'm going to do is just take, a cotton bud stick, and I'm just going to kind of lightly brush the edge down, and that way we get a good seal between the vinyl and the paint layer below it. And we've glossed over this with some Tamiya gloss, and then I ran out, which is good because we don't have to worry about it. Yeah, so we're gonna go around and get all these put on. I'm just kind of lifting up and then placing back down. I'm not dragging it anywhere that would drag any of those the fragile antenna blades off. And again, I'm just kind of lifting just the edge with the blade, and then working around the vinyl stencil, lifting it off with the tweezers. And then the same goes for this guy here. Just kind of in the same sort of area. So take the cotton bud stick and just work around, make sure that edge is sealed nicely. Okay, so there's the top, and so anyways, that's just the general idea. So that's how we're going to place the stencils down. To get basically, after we've put those down, and to mitigate the rest of, not ruining any of our paint, we're just going to de-tack some of the Tamiya tape and then place it down on the edge. And just kind of like lightly press it into place. We're just going to try to create a good seal between the vinyl and the rest of the tape, and then So now if you've got a larger airbrush and you don't have the ability to kind of spray the finer patterns and get in close with it, you can always just use you know, like cellophane tape, or sorry, like plastic wrap for food. And you can kind of line the rest of the aircraft so you minimize overspray that way. But if you've got a fine enough airbrush and nozzle and you've thinned your paint down properly, you shouldn't have any issues with overspray at all. So okay. Just flatten that down onto that piece. And there we go. So that's how we're going to place our stencils down. Now for the red, you know, looking at the decals, it's just a fairly simple sort of red going on. So we can use, you know, Tamiya's X7, any other sort of, you know, like a regular red. I've got some red lacquers here that I think could probably match that a little bit better. Something like, you know, I've got Mercedes fire engine red here, and this is a fairly thin paint, so that might do well. Or I've got some of the March STP red, and that would probably look like a really good match for it. So we'll probably use those. The yellow's more of, you know, like almost like a German Gelb. So we've got our, you know, MRP Gelb here, and we'll probably use that. And then the blue, just as standard, you know, Tamiya X4 blue, or the XF8 matte blue. So we'd basically thin the Tamiya paints down 50-50 with alcohol, and then just do really light kind of colors just to make sure that we're not making a step in between the vinyl, like where the paint, we've got the vinyl here, and this is like a really kind of a microscopic view. So we've got the base of the model here, and we've got the vinyl tape, and so when we put our paint down, we want to make sure it's a really light dust coat, or else if we build it up too much, then we're just going to get this step, and when we remove the vinyl, you know, there's going to be a noticeable step in between the paint layers and where we had the vinyl decal. So try and avoid that as much as possible. So nice thin coats, and then get that all sorted. So we'll go ahead and do the rest of the vinyls. We'll go ahead and spray it, gloss it, and then come back when we start to do some of the panel line washes and some of the weathering. So we'll see you guys then. Okay, so we've gone ahead and we've sprayed all of the colors down now with the vinyl masks. So we've gone progressively through down to the smaller dot. Basically what this allows you to do is, if you have a lighter color in the middle, you start with the lighter color and then work your way out. But we've gone lighter to darker, sorry. So in between all the mask layers, we've gone ahead and used some liquid mask just to seal off the edge in between, like the outside and then the next vinyl layer going in. Now with that, we'll go ahead and start peeling this off. Just go very lightly here. You can see the liquid mask coming off around the edges. And this means that we've got a nice seal in between all of our layers. So there's the outer layer gone. And you can see the liquid mask here just hanging off on the edge. and we're left with our main vinyl decal. So we're just going to get a knife and very carefully kind of lift up the edge so that we don't lift off the paint. And we're just going to pull it perpendicular to the edge straight away. Like so. Sorry if I can get some more light in here for you. Okay, so that's that layer gone. And we'll take our knife, very carefully go on to the next, like so. And then go and pull that one as well. Okay. And then just going to clean off the paint there on the blade. And finally, with the last layer, lift that up. And there we go. So, as you can see, there is our roundel all nicely painted on, and you can see we've got a little bit of lift going on there in that little bit, but you know, running my finger across it, I feel no edges whatsoever, using, you know, the nice thin paint layers. And see if I can get some angle on it here. You can see there's no visible edge. We used X4, not the matte blue for the center. That's why it's looking glossy. But as you can see, kind of rotating the light on there, there's no edge whatsoever because we use some nice thin layers. And basically, we can go ahead and gloss over this. Now, because we didn't use a decal, all of the panel lines, all of the rivets here are still intact. They're quite sharp, and we don't have to worry about using various decal solutions and worrying about the decals fitting down. There's no print on the decals as to where they're made. But the carrier film looks quite thin, but still, you know, we don't have to worry about any decaling solutions affecting the roundels because they're painted on, so we can just come over with a quick gloss layer and then move on to weathering. So that's really all it is, and it's quite easy to do. And just to show you what I'm on about, we'll go ahead and remove the second roundel that we've done here on the wing. First layer off. I need to have a heavy grip on it, just a light enough grip to pull the vinyls off. If you don't stick them right down, as long as you seal the edges, you should come off with a nice, you know, nice good painted eye. I'm actually put this second one kind of lifting off there, so just be careful of that. we go. So there we go. So that's, you know, 2 very nice roundels all painted on now, and those are in good register. They've got a nice clean edge to them, and you know, and then we can go ahead and move on to doing the ones on the tail fin and underside the fuselage as well. Great vinyls by Icaerodesign. So there's no issues with those guys whatsoever. It's all a matter of down to the paint color that you decide to use. That's really the only kind of downside to doing something like roundels or sprayed on insignia, is just matching the color, and that can really just be mitigated by doing some spray tests or having a knowledge of known colors that you have and what color they are once they've dried, that sort of thing. So that's really all that is. So knowing your paints is really kind of a benefit to being able to do vinyl sprays. You just get a lower profile of the paint. They're painted on. They're not gonna even thin decals are quite thick, but using Decal solutions only gets them to sit down so much. So there's no finicking around with those at all. So that's gonna kind of be it for this episode. We're gonna go ahead and, while you guys are gone, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the roundels. I'm going to get the numbers on, and I'm also going to start working on the rest of the stencils that go on, and hopefully once that's done, we can go ahead and start doing some of the gear and the weapons, and we'll get that all done prior to next episode. Next episode, we'll kind of work on all the weathering, so doing Panaline washes, using some oils around, and that sort of thing. So thanks again, guys, for coming and watching. We'll see you in the next episode, and have a good day.